We are live. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for bearing with us while we navigated through the technical difficulties in the background. It's always the best laid plans of mice and men that can lead you to merry dance and mix my metaphors there. But I'm just going to share this into the groups as well, and then we'll get going, I promise you. Let's have a look. I'll be as quick as I can on this. Where's my profile? There we are, showing up on BeLive TV. Share to a group. We've gone into AMPT, gone into Empower You Energy Healing. Stephen, before we get going, is there any way you can adjust your camera a little bit? Because even though you look fine on my vision, if you could sort of bring your head more into the frame, because your name, that's...
Yeah, so better?
I'll just have a look, see how it looks, because your face has been hidden, which is absolutely no good whatsoever.
I don't know where to put it. Where do I put my face?
I just see...
as the actress said to the bishop.
Excellent. Can you just put yeah, that's better. Where you are there now is perfect. Nice one.
All right, good.
Nice one. Right, okay then. As I say, without further ado, let's get going. So, hi everyone. We're thrilled to be back and connecting with you all today. We really are, and hot on the heels of the launch of AMPT Volume 2. I'm joined by the creator. Volume 2 was released last week and is already selling like hotcakes. Imagine reprogramming your subconscious mind by simply pressing play once per day. You will then take it on a fun and transformational journey using cutting-edge technology expertly crafted by my guest's fair hands. This is next level stuff. My star guest today is a best-selling author, and he has no less than 22 published books. I'm honored to call him a friend, and he's certainly enriched my life since connecting with him in February, let me tell you. Please welcome my amazing guest, the mighty Barefoot Doctor, Stephen Russell. Thank you for joining me. Nice one.
Thank you for having me, and I can say exactly the same for you, sir. What a beautiful man you are. I love you.
Bless your heart. Bless your heart. We'll go to the comments, and once again, thank you for sticking with us where we navigated the technical difficulties in the background. We currently have 15 amazing viewers online. Teresa is saying, good morning, lovely. Good morning to you, Teresa.
Good morning.
Morning, chaps. Carpenter is saying, lovely men. Oops. Lovely guy you are as well, Rob. Barry John saying, hey, I made it, guys. Good to have you with us, Barry. Sabina saying, morning, guys. So we welcome your comments and your questions as we go along. But to that end, we have had a record number of questions this time, Stephen. I'm quite blown away by how many questions have been flooding in, which is awesome.
Wonderful.
But I just start off by saying, now that Volume 2 is finally released, and year, by the way, and for those who bought it and are considering it, what sort of transformations are they likely to expect and receive over the coming sort of 6 weeks?
Well, it is, so many ways of describing it. Volume 1 was all about, the real focus was on manifesting using affirmations to entrain the mind in positive thinking at quite a profound level. But then the next stage, this comes from my experience in doing this stuff for, I don't know how many decades really. Well, it's probably about 40 years of working with manifesting. And I find that with myself, when I've been, say I was doing lots of affirmations and I manifested a big change, I find that within a month or 2 or 3, my confidence would start wobbling about, can I really do this? Is this really happening? And then I'd start going back into that kind of non-miracle kind of mindset. And the reason is that I needed to fortify my embodiment of the internal magician, so to speak. Because when you're manifesting stuff, what you're doing is being a magician, a sorcerer. And that is fundamental to the whole Taoist practice. People don't talk about it much anymore, but Taoism was really initially famous in the West, or known in the West back in the hippie days, for being a system of doing magic with reality. And I don't mean conjuring. Well, I suppose it is conjuring tricks, really, in the greater sense of the idea that this whole realm that we're in is one big magic picture show. And once you can identify with that magical flow and you start guiding it and influencing it, you need to have a lot of confidence in yourself as that person. And that actually, ironically, means you have to stop identifying with yourself as the personality that you know and start embodying this kind of deeper self that we rarely are in contact with. And it takes quite a lot of boldness and courage to do that, because you are going against all your conditioning. So volume 2, I don't know if I explained that properly, but volume 2 is to give you that power, to give you the ability to embody the internal magician, while simultaneously focusing on then manifesting profound changes in all the relevant areas of life. One of the huge differences in this one is that along with that, there is a lot of emphasis on healing, because it would be disingenuous to present any Taoist system that didn't really contain the healing aspect, because that is fundamental to the whole thing, the medicine and so on. You know, like acupuncture, for example, comes from Taoism. And it's really important to have as much of a clear flow of healing energy running through you at all times, so that what you manifests as something healthy rather than all messed up. And that's what volume 2 does, I think. I mean, I could present it in 1,000 other different, probably better ways than that, but that's how it's occurring to me this morning.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. As you say, the opportunities you provide to heal or apparent right throughout the series. And all you do is, like you say, you set your intention for the days you like to heal, put your awareness there, and then that's where the magic can and does happen. And you set the scene beautifully for that. You provide the space. You get people down into the brain waves, you know, the corners of the mind, if you like, to affect the healing. And it's just beautiful. Obviously, you've got all the original music going on in the background, something for everyone, from a bit of house to jazz to blues to classical. There's orchestral, well, not orchestral, but certainly classical. There's all kinds of stuff going on. Yeah.
Mm. Also, love. It focuses a lot on love. You know, like actual love. You know, like the doing the magic. Because this was based on feedback from volume 1. People really wanted to know about how to attract someone into their life, or to heal the relationships that they were in, or to become free of something that they didn't want to be in anymore in a good way, and to up their libido, and to find themselves feeling a lot more sexy in general, more attractive, more confident in that way. There's a big focus on that, as well as success. The Tao loves speed, the Tao loves success, the idea that what you're doing is going to succeed constantly. So I tell you what, man, the main effect it's had on me working on it is a lot more fluency and flexibility and resilience in my relationship with the material plane and with other people and with the events that occur. A lot less fraud, a lot less stressed about anything, a lot more relaxed and trusting, so that when things go apparently wrong, which they do for everybody, you know, especially in these days that we're in, things are all over the place, really. There's no worrying at all. I have not found myself getting stressed about anything other than when the spider bites were not healing quickly. And it was like, oh, is this ever going to heal? But they are healing now, which is thank goodness. So, you know, that kind of thing. It is really interesting what it does. It takes you down to the next level of profound power from volume 1, which is obviously the idea of it, really.
Yep. Beautifully explained. Thank you, Stephen. We've now got 23 beautiful viewers online.
My lucky number.
It is, yes. I can't get them all up on screen, but as I say, thank you for joining us. Susie saying it's awesome. I'm going. Trish is saying hi, Danny and Doc. Hi to you, Trish, as well. Isabel's on. She's saying hi. Angie Richardson on. Again, saying hi. Julia, hello. Eleanor saying, yeah, so glad to see you. Juliet, morning, lovelies. Juliet, morning to you and Tasia Spirit. Warm hugs from Slovenia, from Tasia. Mm-hmm. So, Rob saying, a lovely man is an understatement. Talk about your good self. Right. So,
thank you.
I had this current comment. So, now we're going to go to the questions, as I say, of which I have plenty. Well, the first one is from Stephanie. And she's saying, firstly, thanks again for all these interviews. She loves them. She says, I'm not usually one for watching interviews. However, she prefers to read things, but I'm enjoying these ones a lot. So I guess that's high praise indeed. I have a question about shifting something that feels like it's stuck. I've been struggling for years now with a feeling that is sometimes anxiety and fear. Sometimes it's intense sadness, and sometimes it's just, a physical pain, or it could be pressure or sensation. It doesn't always stay in the same place, but will shift around different parts of my body. I've tried many different approaches, but can't seem to find a way to resolve it. And it's making my day-to-day stuff challenging. So I'd really appreciate any thoughts on what I could do to sort of try and dissipate this energy, try and find out what's underneath it.
Okay, Stephanie, that's my inner female's name because I'm Stephen. Well, that occurs to me to say that, I mean, this is not, there's no kind of quick answer. I don't want to give you some silly banal answer to shifting it because it's complex, isn't it? And it's subtle. What I'm intuiting though is that what we consider to be, that thing, that pain, that, if you want to call it the demon, the little monster that moves around, and it doesn't matter what we do, if we kind of get it from one part, it will move to another, and so on, is originally the split off part of our innermost being that split off when we were first traumatized by our relationship with the world. It could have been our mother being angry with us unfairly, or being unfairly treated by a teacher at school, or bullied by somebody, or just something that caused a major trauma where you couldn't resolve it as a child and you were stuck in that thing. And then children, they move on really quickly and they forget about it, but it doesn't mean that it's gone away. That part of us at that moment gets split off. And eventually, and then also, every time trauma reoccurs in one form or another, however mild at the time, it basically compounds that entity, the power of that entity. Call it an entity. The thing is, though, that is really you. It's the part of you that really, it's that beautiful part that was hurt so badly in that moment, and it's trying to get your attention because it wants to be brought back in. It wants to be reintegrated. So rather than seeing it as the enemy, if you can start to see it as the friend, see it as you, the beautiful part of your inner child's soul that got moved to one side, that needs to come back in. And there are many techniques for doing that. One of the ones that I like the most, which generally tends to work, if you consider that is a part of you that you left behind. So then, metaphorically speaking, you look behind you to the left, because it's where you've left that thing behind, and you imagine that child. It doesn't matter if you can't remember clearly what the trauma was. You can just be sure there was a trauma, hence why there's this pain. You look round to that child, maybe the 3-year-old, and you, as if it's your own child, you go, hey, come, and you hug it, you embrace it. It's like a negotiation. You have to kind of picture the conversations it will go, and you could come to me. Look, I know that you are feeling the pain, and I want to embrace you. I want to heal you. I want to bring you back in, and you invite that child into your body. It's as if you can see them coming in through the left side of your back and filling up your chest, sitting in your chest as if in a papoose, but inside you. And you say to them, look through my eyes. It's all right, isn't it? Life's okay here. And it's much better with you inside of me than you outside of me. And you get a picture of that inner child relaxing into you and feeling, okay, yeah, I'm quite enjoying this. Okay, thank you for bringing me back in. And that will be, if you could repeat that a few times till it feels real, you'll definitely get a result from that. And then secondly, you know how churches have gargoyles on them? They're like demons which face out to protect the building. And it's similar to the Buddhist way of looking at it. We each have this little monster inside of us. Rather than it turning inwards and causing us distress, you picture it turning outwards and facing the world as your protector, just like the gargoyles on the church. And by and by practicing that as a little meditation on a daily basis for a while, you gain that entity, as it were, as your ally rather than your enemy. I think for now, maybe that's enough to go with. And the third one, let me just finally summarize it like this. When I have a pain, physical pain, emotional pain, or whatever, my natural tendency is obviously to try and make it go away or distract myself from it, as it is with all of us. What I've learned over the years, if I can override that and go, just noticing that that is the Tao, like everything is Tao. It's not anything separate from the Tao, or what we might call God or whatever. So it's not anything evil. It's part of the flow of existence. And I say to it, I love you. I love you. I love this. I love this. I say it about 3 or 4 times. I love this pain. I love this pain. The pain goes. It just ceases. It's because we're fighting it that it kind of comes back. And I think that is the basis of all healing, really, is to go, I love this, rather than I'm afraid of it and I'm resisting it. I love this. And then that will transform it. I hope that helps you, Stephanie. You let us know. Let us know in a week or so.
Beautiful, Doc. That one was for you, Stephanie. And as you say, please do follow up on how you find it. And as you say, Doc, it can feel so counterintuitive. You know, we're born to resist it, to push things away. I don't want it. I want to get rid of this pain. But as you say, it's if you welcome it and say, I love you, it can set you free. You can. Because it's just old stuff been looking to be acknowledged, isn't it, basically? That's,
yes, exactly. Yeah.
That's where I found it. So there's another question coming from Angela or Angie. I don't know which name she put. Kind of similar, but perhaps you could expand it as well for us, please, Stephen. She's asking, I'm really interested to know if there's something daily you can do to clear blocks. So mine often end up appearing as physical ailments. So I wonder if do you have any kind of daily practice or routine to stop emotions, manifesting as pain or physical ailments?
Well, Angie, the angel, I'll tell you that the first thing is obviously to discern how it's making your body tense up and where it's making your body tense up, where you're holding the most tension because of it. And then consciously breathing out. And as you breathe out, feeling it dispel. It's like you let that part of the body relax and soften as much as you can. That's the first thing. And then I'll give you this one because it works. It's really powerful. You know, the diagonal St. Andrew's cross, the white cross, the X, it's an X shape. You picture the middle of that cross, it just in your solar plexus, just below your chest, in the belly, the upper belly. And you've got the lines of the cross going up past the shoulders on each side and down past the hips on each side. You breathe in, and as you breathe in, you imagine the middle of the cross becoming really bright. As you breathe out, you picture the white light from the middle going up the arms of the cross and down, the legs of the cross, as it were, out past your shoulders and out past your hips. And you do that 3 or 4 times, maybe 6 times is good, nice and gently. And you do it based on the fact that this pain, the discomfort, the emotional block, is the Tao. It's not an enemy. It's not anything awful. And you do it rather than get out of here, get rid of it. It's more about, look, if you need to go somewhere else, please feel free. I don't need you inside of me anymore. Just let yourself, be free. Go if you want. So you do it very graciously rather than being desperate about it or heavy. And you'd find usually 3 or 4 of those, and the light passing out of you seems to get rid of all kinds of stuff. I got diagnosed with terminal cancer about 5 years ago. It could have been a mistake. I have to kind of bear that in mind, and I'd like to think it was really, because it's a bit scary if it wasn't. But nonetheless, at a certain point, I wasn't afraid at all. I was actually quite all right with the idea of dying because it was just one thing to do instead of multitasking. And I thought, yeah, that's easy. I can do that because this training does take your fear of dying away. Not in a morbid sense. It just, you just stop being afraid of that, and which is a beautiful thing. And I did this one. I mean, it was about 3 weeks in, and I thought, you know what? I treat a lot of people with terminal cancer, and I've been, able to make it non-terminal for people in quite a lot of cases. I should try it on myself, I think. So I spent what I remember as not being much more than a minute, actually, doing exactly what I was saying. And I went for the scans and the whatever you call it, the internal scans and everything a couple of days later, and it was totally clear. There was absolutely nothing there at all. So the hospital were completely confounded by that and said that it's not our paradigm, you know that, but you must have healed it. And I said, no, man, you just had coffee on your lenses and stuff. But that was my cavalier way of laughing it off. But it seemed to work. I don't know if it was that. I have no idea, but it did seem to work. It's pretty powerful, and I'm still here to tell the tale and doing fine. So okay, go with the St. Andrew's cross. That St. Andrew was a good guy, whoever he was.
Okay, Angela Richardson, that one is for you, my friend. I've got a follow-up question for you regarding that, Stephen. When you look back to that time when you healed yourself, do you think it had like a great meaning to your work, how you approached your work, how you approached your life? Do you think there could have been something else at play? Because let's assume that it wasn't a mistake and you did actually have it, but then you released it. Do you think it had any sort of larger... anything larger going on in your life, do you think?
You mean subsequently or before that?
Yeah, subsequently.
Subsequently. Well, I'll tell you one of the things I got from it, because I was 59 at the time. I remember walking around thinking, it's a bit young, really, to be having to leave the planet. But, like I have actually tasted everything I wanted to taste in this world. I'd like to taste more of it all, but there's nothing that I haven't actually tasted that I wanted to taste, as it were. Like how we practice gratitude to overcome self-pity. And it's always like gratitude for I'm alive. It's beautiful. And it's really good to be here. I'm really grateful for it. What I got from that for the first time ever was I was really grateful for the story that I had already. Because if you think you're going to be leaving the planet, you look back and you think, wow, what a story I've had here. What a life, And you've got to kind of be, well, no, you have. I had to be grateful for what I'd had already. So from that point, every single day from then on, I've made sure to be grateful, appreciate the story that's got me to this point. Thank you for that, because that's my wealth. As for the work itself, well, I think I'd already come to terms with dying a few times before that. And it wasn't as if I didn't have the perspective already. It compounded that and it gave me more sense of proportion. So that things that get on my nerves or are difficult momentarily, or the fear of failure and all of that stuff becomes a lot less, because you think, look, come on, you're here. That's the main thing. And I think probably, that must translate into my work with people. But it didn't, weirdly, when it was happening, you'd think that if you're dealing with something as potentially profound as that, you wouldn't have any much time to care about other people in distress. But like while I was doing that healing process, there were people, as always, getting in touch with me and telling me their problems and stuff. And like somebody had a really bad cold, and you think, oh, go fuck off, you know what I mean? You should try to do what I'm doing. It wasn't like that. It was like, oh, bless you, it must be really horrible. And I found that my compassion for people suffering, no matter how relatively small, grew through it. So if anything, I think I've become more compassionate for people in their suffering, no matter how relatively minuscule it might seem. That is definitely something that's happened. More compassion and empathy for people in and their pain. Yeah,
it just occurred to ask that question, and what a brilliant gift on the other side of it, assuming it wasn't an accident or it wasn't a misdiagnosis. What a beautiful gift.
Yeah, it was a gift.
Not
yeah,
for you, but others as well, others in your experience. I just want to go to the comments as well, if I may, just to make this as interactive as possible. Barry Gray is saying morning, Barry. Linda is saying thank you. Isabel is saying very cool. Tasia saying wow. Sorry, he has to leave, but he's going to catch the replay a little bit later on, which is absolutely fine. And Rob saying, I'm not sure I have tasted anything yet, Doc. Now that's a different perspective, isn't it? He's saying, for me, it's the best is yet to come. And if it isn't, oh well. Of course the best is yet to come, Rob. Hang in there. 64 is the new 40. You're okay. Or 63, I think I've just put a year on you. You're 62 or 63. I keep on in years to age. Right. So Isabel asked a similar question to Angela, so we can skip that one, because it's just about, when you're dealing with energy blocks and things, you obviously just welcome them to you and just appreciate them and love them, and then that's how you can unlock them and set yourself free. But Alan is wondering, is it possible to permanently clear sensations or discomfort or sadness that keep cropping up no matter how often a person tries to keep optimistic thoughts in mind. Is that possible, Doc?
I think that what it is, it's not so much that we've got to clear these things from our system, because it doesn't matter who you are or how much work you do, there will always be the difficulty to deal with because of the yin and the yang. They can't just be purely comfort. There has to be the opposite, or you wouldn't be able to know what comfort was. You have to have the contrast. What the Taoist practice is, and really what saves me, my sanity and my life, and this is really what I teach people, is that you have two areas of the body, roughly speaking, that you can occupy. We tend to occupy the front parts of our body because that's how society kind of draws us. The sense organs all face the front, so we conceive of life as occurring in front of us. And when you're a little child and you start school, and it's a bit difficult because you've got to perform to a different set of expectations in a relatively alien culture. Because it's difficult, it's like learning to drive. You sit with your nose up to the windscreen, i.e. you come forwards to be able to be in it and do what you need to do well. The Taoist practice is that instead of sitting in the front of your body, which I should say is where all the story goes on, the forebrain is dedicated to telling ourselves stories that somehow explain the mystery of life to us. And we then mistake those stories for reality itself, and we react to them with the sadness, with the fear and whatever else in the belly. And in fact, what we're doing is we're reacting to a story that we're telling ourselves. We're not really responding to reality itself. When you sit in the back of you, there is no story. The back is very still and quiet. There's nothing going on in there. When you put your mind in the back of your brain, you then access the much older brain. It's the upper part of the back of the brain. It's kind of more or less where the subconscious sits. It's the more ancient part. It's the hunter-gatherer part of the brain, which is actually a lot more intelligent and sensitive than the story-based front brain, because it's not cluttered with all the nonsense that we tell ourselves. It's purely responsive to the environment. That the back brain doesn't think about the future. It stays present because the hunter-gatherer had to be present. There was no future to think about. It was like you got the food or you didn't. You didn't start thinking about what will happen if I don't hunt an animal tomorrow. You just were on it the whole time. It was only with the birth of agriculture where we started having long-term expectations of food growing, and then the laws that came about ownership of land and the money that exchanged and all the rest of it, where we started becoming future referenced. And that was the beginning of the neurosis. The hunter-gatherer, we assume, was not neurotic, that the hunter-gatherer was purely present. And so when you let yourself sit in the back of you with your mind in the back brain, you immediately embody the ancient consciousness, the ancient intelligence. And from there, you're able to observe the storytelling that goes on in the front. You're able to observe the reactions to the story without being lost in it. So therefore, you're in it, but not of it. You're able to be in the bearing witness position, and i.e. what we call mindfulness nowadays. And that way, when sadness or fear or whatever comes up, you're able to go, yeah, well, that's just, the local self reacting to the story. And it's not actually me. So you're able to keep psychological and emotional distance from it. And that way, the patterns stop having a hold on you and they lessen in their intensity to the point where they become almost irrelevant. And that, I would say, is the best that we can hope for, because you can't expect to get rid of negativity. You can't have positivity without negativity. And the front part is in that realm of opposites of the yin and the yang, whereas the back part is not. The back part is the God in you. It's the Tao in you, which just is. It just is. It just sits and observes and bears witness because it's delighted just being alive. And it doesn't care which way the action goes. It doesn't care if the front self feels sad or happy. It makes no difference because it's just passing phenomena. But the back self is constant and in a state of what I experience is just pure delight in just being. Even in the midst of pain and horrible things going on, there's still this innate, wow, I'm alive, regardless. Hope that helps you.
Yeah, that's for you, Anne. Again, beautifully explained, Doc. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Teresa's saying, Sorry, the comments jump. Barry John saying resonates with me very much. Teresa's comment was, it would seem to me that being in the back, the spirit is fully able to experience this human experience and not be lost, in inverted commas, as has been the case before this knowing becomes fully enlightened. Very insightful. Barry Gray saying, thanks so much. That makes so much sense.
Good.
Rob Carpenter saying, hey, watch it. I'm only 62, mate. I keep putting a year or two on them. Right. So, hide comments. Right. So, next question. Kathy was wondering, a question for the doc. It's regarding earning money. How do we strike the balance between earning enough to live on and becoming driven or overly focused on acquiring it? So how do you strike the balance between earning enough and becoming too greedy or too overly focused on it?
Well, Kathy, I think, yeah, maybe you're talking about like when you're wanting to manifest something, when you want to manifest a greater flow of money, and flow is the key here rather than acquiring. The tendency could be that you become a bit materialistic in your being, and you lose the big perspective. The thing is that the way I see it is that by relaxing and letting go, by being in the back with an intention to always be okay somehow, for it all to work out, for everything that happens to touch your advantage in some way. That seems to happen. Divine providence, as we call it in the West, occurs. And it's learning to trust the divine providence, the providence of the Tao, that life will provide. As long as you're in harmony with yourself and your surroundings, which involves being kind to other people, being generous with your energy in whatever way you can be, and remaining mindful of the Tao, the big presence in everyone and everything. The money flows, and if you need more of it, you just say, I need more of it, and more of it will flow. What I think gets in the way, well, certainly does for me, is when I come out of that flow mentality and go into the acquisitive mode, which is I want to acquire, I want to amass money, I want to create this kind of edifice of wealth so that I will be protected from death or whatever else, which is obviously an illusion because we can't be. And then when I'm in that mode, it doesn't matter how much money comes in, it just doesn't feel like enough. I don't know if you've experienced that. You know, you're waiting for a check of, well, it could be 5 grand, 50 grand, it could be 500,000, who knows? When that comes in, that money, check is old fashioned, isn't it? When that money comes in, if you're in the acquiring mode, it's like, yeah, well, you know, it's not 1 million, is it? It's not 5 million, is it? It's not 50 million, is it? You know, whatever it is, it won't be enough. But when I'm in flow mode, which I luckily feel I am most of the time, it's great. Yeah, money's coming in, money goes out, money comes in, money goes out. It's fine. That's the Tao moving through me. And when I'm in that mode, when it's like when I see the Tao in the money, remembering that money is currency, it's called that because it's a current. And it's, what is it? It's a current of energy that passes between us. You know, we formalize it by putting numbers on it and banknote sort of symbols and all the rest. But essentially, it's a measurement device for regulating the flow of energy between us. I give you this energy, you give me that energy in return, etc., etc. And what is energy? Energy is divine. Energy is the Tao in motion. So as long as we remain aware of that the money is only a symbol for this energy that's flowing through the universe, and how beautiful that it's flowing through our lives, then we avoid going into that materialistic, narcissistic, kind of self-centered mode, which messes all the magic up.
Nice one, Doc. Thanks very much for that. This is one I'm just having to slip in because it was on the list for last time and we didn't get time to do it. And I've noticed I've missed it off this timed list as well. But it's from Judy Kennedy, who's in the AMPT group. The AMPT group is actually the Doc's Facebook group, and I'm in there as well. And if anybody watching wants to join it, just do a search on Facebook for AMPT, AMPED, all in capital letters. You'll see a picture of the Doc wearing a swanky suit and sitting on an amplifier, and we'll get you in there. But it's a really cool place to hang around with some lovely conscious people. Anyway, if Judy was wanting to know, you often make reference to seeing affirmations in sort of clusters of 9 or multiples of 9. Is there any particular reason behind the 9 denomination? Is that something you're aware of? Why it's 9?
Well, actually, Judy, it's lovely to hear from you. Well, it's not actually 9 that I use for them; it's 6. 9 is the in Taoist numerology is the most powerful yang, strength building, empowering number. And you can do anything you do 9 times is good. The reason, I mean, I'll go into the reason for it, but it's basically 1 times 9 is 9. 1 and 9 is 9. 2 times 9 is 18. 1 and 8 is 9. 3 times 9 is 27. 2 and 7 is 9. 4 times 9 is 36. 3 and 6 is 9. 5 times 9 is 45. 4 and 5 is 9. 6 times 9, which is the 6, it flips it over. 45 becomes 54. That's also adds up to 9. 7 times 9 is 63 instead of 36. 8 times 9 is 72 instead of 27. 9 times 9 is 81 instead of 18. And 10 times 9 is 90 instead of 0.9. And they all add up to 9. There's no other number that does that. I don't know if that's the reason it's considered to be the most powerful number, but it certainly is. When you practice exercises like physical qigongs and stuff, you do them in multiples of 9, 9, 18, up to 81, 108, whatever. When you're doing affirmations, it's actually a minimum of 6 times. And the reason for that is actually because it requires 6 repetitions of an idea to penetrate the subconscious. They've discovered that. Nobody knows why. It comes from hypnotherapy. So if you're basically, when you're using affirmations, you're doing auto hypnotherapy. And if you want the message to penetrate properly, do it 6 times minimum. 9 is great, but it's not actually relevant to the amount of times you do an affirmation in this instant. It's a technical thing, but there you go.
There you go, Judy. I remember this time. We got there in the end. Thanks, Stephen. Right, we've got one from Heidi. We actually got asked a couple of similar ones, but Heidi's wanting to get better at delivering guided relaxations in my Qigong workshops. She wants to know if you have any tips, practices I can undertake. Is it better, for example, to continually talk or making suggestions, or to leave longer periods of silence? What are your thoughts on that, Stephen?
Good question. I mean, I don't know that there's any set rule for whether you should leave pauses or not. I mean, one thing about pauses is that they're very powerful because in the gap, as you see, there's something happens. In that gap when I'm not saying anything, that there's an energy that we between us, we feel that kind of the hugeness of existence. So leaving pauses is good. It's helpful. But what I find is when I'm doing, because I do quite a lot of that guided thing, I go in it myself, as I'm sure, sorry, what was the name of who asked the question?
It's, Heidi.
Oh, Heidi. Yeah, Heidi. I'm sure you do yourself. When you're doing the visualization thing, I'm sure you go right into it yourself. That's what I do, so that I'm experiencing it myself rather than kind of looking at everybody and what they're experiencing. I'm in it and I'm transmitting from what I'm experiencing in myself. And that seems to have a natural pace and rhythm. The sound of the voice is very important. So before doing anything like that, to do a bit of vocal exercise, like vocal slides, like, oh, to get the voice to be a bit flexible, or doing head resonance exercise like and all of that kind of thing, because that gives the voice a more mellifluous resonance and timbre. And then also another technique that I actually got from watching a friend of mine who's a DJ on a radio station. And I used to go to watch him do his programs, and he was a acid jazz guy. Then he was really interesting. So he'd sit with the headphones on and he'd nod in time to the beat, and it was like hip hop beat stuff he used to play. So it's about 87 BPM or whatever, and he'd be nodding with it, waiting for the changeover of the track. And then as it came, he'd go, "That was blah 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 by blah blah blah," because he was doing it in time. And I find that's very helpful. If I hold a sort of hip hop tempo beat in my head, it keeps me talking at a kind of relatively steady, slow pace. But then I also contrast that with, I'm talking at a slow pace. Then I go, listen, also, if you try doing blah, 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 that would, and then back to the slow pace again. Different modes, that is helpful, so it doesn't become too soporific. I could go on for hours about this, but I hope that's a bit helpful anyway, Heidi.
I'm sure it is. Thanks, Stephen. And that one was for you, Heidi. I've got more questions. Yeah, I'm wondering. Here's a fun one for you, Doc. Joy asks, I would like to know what the babbling bloke bit is all about before the Doc says cute on Amped track 1. On Amped volume 2, track 1, please. Can you cast your mind back to what that is? So it's the babbling bloke bit is all about before the Doc says cute on Amped volume 2, track 1. If you don't know,
the babbling. Oh, the babbling. Oh, yeah. You know, that's actually Osho Rajneesh going. He's saying, I was asleep. I can't mimic his accent. But I just say, I was asleep, and then I think it was I was asleep, and then I awoke, and you can be awake also. I was asleep, then I awoke, and you can be awake also. It was just a way of kind of getting people to kind of pay attention, really, at the beginning. But the reason I was saying cute was because of the young girl who introduces it. Yeah, I was just cute because it was cute. Yeah.
So you heard it here. The babbling bloke is Osho.
A babbling guru.
The babbling guru, yes.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's also got a sense of humor as well. Right. Yeah, this is an interesting one, Doc. I wonder what your thoughts are. This one's from Rob. I'm just going to read it out as well. He says, my question would be, why would a seemingly intelligent person make, I'm going to put this in inverted commas, even though he hasn't, but I'm going to do that, make a low consciousness, life-altering decision? He's in brackets, he's put in my perspective. My example is a cousin who was seemingly intelligent, a decent guy, but he chose at an early age to become a Mormon, where things are very fixed and rigid. His reality is the only reality. Is it simply to take the guessing game out of belief so he doesn't have to worry about it anymore? Is it existential fear, perhaps? I can't live a life with some sort of soothing resolution or what? It's just why do so many people choose the safe and supposedly secure option of putting all their eggs in one basket early on in life, and from that point on, do not entertain any alternatives? So I guess you've got like Mormons, I don't know, Jehovah's Witnesses. I don't want to sort of cast aspersions or start to judge anyone in case anyone's watching this. It's not what this is about. But I just wonder what your perspective is on a life path that seemingly takes away your responsibility, free will, free thinking, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, look, firstly, Rob, I don't think we can put ourselves in a position to judge it as being unintelligent, even if it looks like that. I don't think we can do that. Just to be respectful and fair to everybody. I mean, me as a whatever you called it, a conscious being, I've made a few stupid choices in my life as well. We all do. But at the age of about 20 to 25, we start to become aware of our mortality quite strongly. That was when I really got into meditation in a really big way, because I was really afraid of dying, and the whole idea of not being here anymore was freaking me out. And I knew that the only way to deal with that was to start learning to meditate properly every day, because that way I'd be in touch with the power. Now, I was fortunate because I started martial arts at an early age, 11, that I had that propensity for going that kind of Taoist route, which is not a religion, as you know, it's a system, a way of operating, and it allows total freedom. That's what it's about. And so, but I did have the guidelines, and I still stick them. You could say I'm religious about it. And I think it would be really difficult to negotiate our way through life without some kind of compass that worked for us. And at the age of 25, you're a bit panicky, and you're looking for ways to do it. And if something presents itself at the right moment, that albeit you're going to have to sacrifice your freedom or whatever, but it looks like it promises you the reward that you're looking for, which is clarity and a system that you can navigate through, then I can understand why someone would choose it. That there is also karma involved in it. Your destiny somehow dictates why you would choose those things. And thirdly, if you had religious indoctrination, as I don't know how it is these days, but I certainly did. Most people do, I think, or did, certainly of our age. That starts at a very early age. You get taught about God and Jesus and all the rest of it at the age of 2-3 years old. So even if your kind of growing intellect says, oh, that's all nonsense or whatever, it's so deeply ingrained in you that you will kind of cherish it as something sacrosanct regardless. And who knows what associations occur in your cousin's mind to make him kind of go the Mormon way. I mean, I really don't know. But it must have resonated with that inner child conditioning in some way. And I mean, there's something to be said for organized religion, and they do provide an ethical framework at least. And anything that's going to put you in touch with the divine is good, essentially. I think better than not having anything. I mean, I think one of the challenges that we have as humanity now, and one of the reasons everything's completely up in the air, is that we've kind of, to a large extent, kind of released ourselves from that and not replaced it with anything yet. So children grow up without what I can see, with very little ethical framework. There's something come up, I think. System isn't responding. No, don't do that. Okay. Am I still here? Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear and see you fine. Yeah.
Yeah, good. So because we don't have that ethical framework, or children don't have it, nobody really knows how to operate with each other anymore. And it's become a little bit unruly as a result. So not that I lament the passing of organized religion in the West, I don't. But I do value and respect it because I had the privilege of being brought up with it, and singing those hymns. They seemed a bit daft to me, and I found them a bit corny and embarrassing, actually. But I was always listening out for the stuff that really resonated and that made sense to me. And, turn the other cheek and do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. And all of those axioms really played a major part in forming my character, and I'm really glad of them. So I couldn't totally say, like, do away with religion. Somebody goes for it, they go for it. And, I think the Mormon thing's bizarre because I think this, what's his name, Smith's story was like, but then religion isn't. They all start off with someone having a dream, and everyone go, "Oh, wow, that's a good dream. Let's follow that." Let's follow that. But each to their own. Bless everybody. God bless the Mormons.
Yep. Cheers for that. Rob's, responded by saying his cousin would have been in that 20 to 25 year age group we were talking about when he starts searching for. Quite often, that's when the spiritual quest begins for many.
Yeah.
Right. So we've gotten through most of the questions today, and I want to respect everybody's time. So I wondered if we could finish on one of your epic, amazing, spectacular guided visualizations that everyone loves so much, myself included. We've got a suggestion which came in from William in the AMP group. He said, "I'd be most grateful if Doc would conduct a golden ball meditation, generating and throwing the energy into the world, and also aspects of our lives that may be a bit stuck or could just use some extra energy." I don't know if you could weave that into.
I'd love to. But first, before I do, I just want to take issue with you on one thing. You're not just part of that group, man. If it wasn't for you, that group wouldn't be there, the AMP group. So you are the major linchpin of the whole thing, and thank you so much for that. I just need to say that you're very humble and modest. You're a good example to me, really. I really thank you. Bless your heart. 1,008 times over, every minute, every second, in fact. And that goes to everybody. Bless everyone's heart 1,008 times every nanosecond. And that will be the gist of what we're going to do now. So if you want to let your body settle, because we tend to kind of draw the energy up into the chest and the head and excite ourselves like that, whether with kind of the thrill or the anxiety of being alive. But no matter which way you're playing it, just let all that drop. Let your weight drop. Let all the weight of the story that you carry on your shoulders, let that drop. So you let your shoulders drop with it. And the weight of the story in the forebrain, let that drop down the front of your body into your belly, and from your belly into your pelvic floor, and from your pelvic floor into the ground. And at this point, become aware that the ground is not some boring clod of stone. It's a relatively very thin crust around a ball of fire as hot as the surface of the sun. It's basically a nuclear-powered spaceship that we're on. And it's moving at 1,000 miles an hour around its own axis, spinning like a gyroscope, while zooming in orbit around the sun at 66,000 miles an hour. Now, like a plane, the fastest plane goes at, 1,000 or 2,000 miles an hour, those supersonic jets? I don't know. That's like nothing. The planet is moving at 66,000 miles an hour. And because of the axial spin, we don't feel that. It's a real miracle. Or we think we don't feel it. We actually do feel it. So if you, as you're dropping your weight, you're honoring gravity. You're also honoring the fact that you're sitting on this nuclear powered spaceship that is zooming around the sun, which is very exciting and immediately puts into perspective all the local considerations. Oh, am I going to achieve this or that? And what will happen about this or that? I must go here, must go there. It all becomes nothing compared to the actual journey that we're really on. So you're honoring the power of the motion of the Tao by sinking your weight. Same time, imagine someone's lifting the top of your head upwards so that the back of your neck becomes longer. And that lengthens your whole spine, which is important because your spine is the main conduit of energy in your body. So as you lift as the head lifts, feel, or imagine you can feel even the energy that's actually coming up from the ground, because energy does do that, from that ball of fire under the crust of the earth. Feel that energy coming up through the coccyx, through your tailbone, up your spine, and up through your brain and out through the top of your head. Simultaneously, imagine the top of your head open like a pair of sliding doors, and it's receiving the cosmic energy down through it like a rush of light, coming down through the brain, down through the spine, and out through the pelvic floor, again into the ground. So then what you're doing is what the Taoists say is our main function here. You're channeling the energies of heaven and earth. You're letting them pass through you. So you just take a moment, breathing slowly, to honor that fact. That's what you're doing right now. So you're not just a person lost in a local existence. You are a channel for the energies of heaven and the energies of earth. You're part of the cosmos. You're part of the Tao. Breathe slowly, a bit more slowly and evenly. Let the breath feel smooth. Let it feel silent, like reeling silk from a cocoon. And value the breath, because each in-breath is bringing you new life, and each out-breath is releasing you of the old, releasing you of all the toxins of the past, if you let it. So the breath is not just inert, it's not just nothing. It's filled with life. It's the elixir of life itself. So you start to really appreciate each in-breath as if you paid $1,000 for each in-breath. And it's like, this is fine vintage air that I'm breathing in here. And, you know, that feeling. And again, looking at the muscles of the body, just wherever you feel yourself holding on for no reason, just let go. The forearms are a place we tend to hold on because we're gripping unconsciously onto life. Just let the forearms relax. Let the calves relax because we dig our heels in and that makes the calves tense. Let the calves relax. Let the pelvic floor and the whole pelvic region relax and let go, because we tend to hold the hips a bit rigid for fear of just being the animals that we are. Let the hips relax and let the chest relax. Let the chest open right up and soften so that you get a sense that your heart, the repository of the beauty of your soul, has space to be. It has space to radiate the goodness of you all around you. And let your face relax and let your brain relax. Now become aware that you have a choice between sitting in the front part of you, which is a noisy, insecure, frightened place, very vulnerable, the front is all quite open and soft, or sitting in the back of you, which is relatively strong and sturdy, safe and sound, and quiet and still. It's a beautiful place to be, the back. It's a lovely environment. And it is the part of us that developed first in the womb. It is the original self is the back. So just take this opportunity of shifting the weight of you into your back and let the mind drift into the back of the head. Let your mind lean up against the headrest provided by the back of your skull, so that you're now sitting all the way back and you're observing from the back of your brain. You can feel in the front, the heart is open, so that connects you to all of humanity, to all sentient beings at a soul level. And assemble yourself, i.e. organize your sense of physicality around your belly button, which is the center of your body, really. So you get a feeling that if someone wanted to lift you up by a handle, like a piece of luggage, they'd lift you from your belly button because that's the middle of you. Get a feeling that you're organizing yourself around there, but you're leaning right back inside. Your heart's open, you're breathing quietly, you're relatively relaxed throughout. Now, picture a sphere a kind of egg-shaped sphere surrounding your whole body, stretching out approximately, say, 3 meters from your spine in every direction, not just around you, but above you and below you as well. And picture the sphere made of golden light. It doesn't have to be anything spectacular, even a kind of muted, subtle gold light, something very delicate and beautiful. Now, the sphere is a very interesting one because not only does it sit around you and therefore protect you and neutralize negative energy, both coming out from you and coming in towards you, it also is capable of attracting to you all the good that you need, all the provisions, all the resources, all the wherewithal, and all the opportunities and the connections with people required to make your story sing for you. Now, the aspects of the sphere that dispels the negativity from you revolves around you in a counterclockwise circle, anti-clockwise. And it does that because it's made of light at the speed of light, which is 186,000 miles a second, really quick. And the mind can actually, the subconscious can actually discern that speed. Conscious mind can't, it's too quick for it. So from the back of your brain, where you're with your subconscious, you can actually picture the sphere spinning around you anti-clockwise at 186,000 miles a second, ferociously fast, really powerful. And as it does that, say to yourself, banish, 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 cast off, cast off, cast off, dispel, 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 expel, 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 and repel, repel, repel. All negativity, all harmful influences, all harmful energy, be gone, and just see it spun off you. Now, the fact that it repels means that, and it casts off, means that any negative energy coming in towards you is spun off. It doesn't come anywhere near you. And any negative energy that you're producing internally will not, it will be neutralized. It will be expelled from you and neutralized. So it won't have any, it will have no negative effect on you nor on anyone around you. So you see the sphere spinning around you counterclockwise, and it's getting rid of and banishing and casting off any negative or harmful or waylaying or delaying energy that, or people or influences that could possibly affect you. Now, at the same time, you let that keep spinning, let it do that on its own, which it is anyway. It's just we're activating it by being conscious of it. Now, at the same time, and in the same space, co-spatial with it, the sphere is also simultaneously spinning in a clockwise direction. So it's really fascinating. This sphere is spinning in one direction and also simultaneously spinning in the other. And the clockwise direction is the one that attracts to you all the people, resources, events, opportunities, and wherewithal that you need for your story to really come alive, for everything that you need to come to you. And so you, as the sphere, as you see the sphere now spinning around you clockwise at 186,000 miles a second, you just say to yourself something along the lines of, by the free will of everyone and everything involved, and for the highest possible good of everyone and everything involved, including me, of course, draw to me, draw to me, draw to me everyone and everything that I need to succeed fully in my mission here, whatever that mission is. And you picture that ball of golden light spinning around you clockwise while it's simultaneously going the other way as well. So you're protected while you do this, bringing you all the strength and all the health and all the resources, all the opportunities, all the money, all the events, all the situations, all the connections, the relationships, everything that you need to make you succeed on the mission. And it's not doing it manipulatively, it's keeping it really free. It's only for the highest good and by the free will of everything and everyone that's involved in this. And then you just sit for a moment, picturing or feeling these two spheres, or the sphere, spinning in both directions simultaneously, and just giving thanks, being appreciative for just being here in this moment. And then you become aware that there is this game called the material world, the game of humanity all around you. Set your intention for how you want to play the game today and how you want the game to play with you. As in, for example, let everything transpire with supreme elegance now. Let there be harmony. between me and everyone, and let all situations that are irksome be dissolved for everyone's benefit. And I'm open now to receiving a whole run of absolutely beautiful surprises. I am open to receiving a run of beautiful surprises. I am open to receiving a run of beautiful surprises. I am open to receiving a run of beautiful surprises. I am open to receiving a run of beautiful surprises. I am open to receiving a run of beautiful surprises today. Thank you. And then you come back into your kind of more normal, familiar state.
Wow. Do you know when you open your eyes, you think, where on earth have I been? I'm sure everyone will agree that was just so amazing. I feel chilled. I feel full of inspiration. My energy is just so expansive.
Good.
And while I was sitting in the space as well, it occurred to me to say a couple of things. First of all, well, Paul, thank you for that beautiful guided inspiration, that guided meditation. And also, I just need to mention the Empower You Energy Healing Facebook group as well, which we're also broadcasting into. I don't want to leave out the beautiful people on this call who are also watching from that group. Just want to thank the doc for being so giving of his time, his knowledge, his expertise, his experience, and his love. And if you want to connect more with the Barefoot Doctor, his website is barefootdoctorglobal.com. If you can't remember that.
Barefoot Doctor World, the barefootdoctorworld.com.
Barefootdoctor.com. I do happen to know that it's linked. So even if you put global or world in it, the two are linked. I know Evo's done a good job with that. But even if you just put Barefoot Doctor website, it'll bring it up straight away. So even if you think, what was it again? Just put Barefoot Doctor website, it brings it up. There's so many great things on the doc's website. I would recommend getting onto his email list because he sends out regular daily updates, insights. It's really valuable stuff. You know, it really takes time, thought, effort, love to type something to you which will help you in your daily life. There's also freebies on there you can download to get a little sneaky peek of AMT free of charge. That's something I thoroughly endorse, highly recommend. I want to thank everyone. We've now got 30 viewers online. Isabel saying thank you. Angie is saying wonderful meditation and thanks so much for answering my question. Julia is saying thank you, Julia Jenkins. Sylvia Cullen is saying thank you. Jenny Rodditt has got the love hearts in the eyes. Thank you. And yep, so thank you to each and every one of you. Till the next time, which hopefully will be sooner rather than later. Love to you all and bye.
Yeah, thanks, Danny. You're beautiful. Thank you. Man.
Likewise. Cheers, Doc. Bye-bye.
Bye.